Thank you very much. Like he explained, we would have wanted to stay longer, but it's two nations visit, one for TICAD and then the other a state visit to Singapore. These are two countries that are quite important in terms of investment in Ghana. TICAD ended very successfully, he briefed you, and Japan has made more commitments to Africa. We're moving from ODA to trade and investment. And so we're looking more at investments in Africa and trade rather than just giving ODA. ODA will continue, but we're trying to enhance the trade and investment aspect of it. So with you who are here, you can take advantage of it, because if you have partners who have businesses here, you can look in Ghana and Africa and see where you can plug in. Japan wants to take advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area that allows us to export duty-free, tariff-free into each other's countries. And so if you set up a hub in any African country and you are Ghanaian, so it means it must be in Ghana, you can have the opportunity to not only a 33 million population market, but 1.3 billion African market. So it was a good meeting in Yokohama. We finished, and we've come. Unfortunately, we're leaving tonight, and I wanted to stay longer, but we have to go back to Dubai and fly again to Singapore. And I said that we should have the opportunity to at least meet you and interact. Some of you know me from my days in Japan Embassy. And it's interesting, I just met my colleagues who I worked with when I was in the embassy as a young officer. All of us have grown in age. They also are looking much older than when all of us started. And at the time, there were many Ghanaian businessmen who had started to want the opportunity to come to Japan because of the automobile markets. I mean, vehicles were cheaper here, and it was easy to get knocked down parts and send them back to Ghana. And many people did a thriving business, and that's how some people established businesses here. And as a young officer, the embassy relied on me to advise on so many things, and so we facilitated the business of many people, and it was quite lucrative. So I'm happy to see a thriving Ghanaian community, and happy to have our ambassador here. She's been our guide, and she's a wonderful ambassador, I'm sure. Yes. And so, like he said, we might have the opportunity to come back in 2027 because we have several coincidences. 100 years of Noguchi's arrival in Ghana, and you know how important Noguchi is to Japan. He was one of their earliest contacts with Africa, and so we want to celebrate it both in Ghana and here. And so it's likely that we will invite the Prime Minister to come to Ghana, and it's likely that I will also come here for the ceremony that they will have here. Then we also have 70 years of Ghana-Japan diplomatic relations. We have 50 years of JOCB volunteers. And then we also have 70 years of Ghana's independence. Yes. So there are so many things coinciding at the same time in 2027. By coming to Ghana itself, we've had quite some difficulties over the last few years. We had debt default, and also the economy took a downturn. But we've had to take quite some difficult decisions to bring things back on track. And happily, things are normalizing. Our international partners realize it, including Japan. And so they're willing to work with us, on the various issues that we've put to them. And one is the Volleyball Bridge, which would be part of the Eastern Corridor Road. For those of you who know the Eastern Corridor, it brings a lot of food products from the northeastern parts where they grow a lot of corn, soya bean and rice and other things. It brings them down to the markets. So I spoke with the Prime Minister, and he was responsive and said they'll do everything they could. We approved it. It's unfortunate. We approved it in Parliament in 2016. Unfortunately, government changed, and it was not the priority of the new government that came in, so they delayed it all until almost the end of their term, and they started trying to revive it. But by then, the price gap in terms of how much it was costed at the time and how much it will cost now created a gap that needs to be filled. And so we're appealing to our Japanese counterparts to fill the gap, but we also are ready to contribute something under the big push. So we're saying that whatever they're able to put, we can also top it up so that we get that rate. We should learn to become self-reliant. We should, Ghana Beyond Aid must be real. We must be prepared to co-finance things ourselves. And so that's why we're saying that anything they're able to put, we would find our own resources and also contribute to it so that we can make it happen. But otherwise, your country is peaceful. And unfortunately, we had the accident that happened a few weeks ago. We lost some of our most committed comrades, and it was a national tragedy. But we've got the sympathy of the whole world. Since I came, every meeting I go into, the first thing they do is to give us condolences for the loss of our colleagues. And so we know that with the kind of solidarity the world is giving us, we need to work harder in order to make sure that we vindicate their memory, because all of us were working to reset our country, Ghana. We started constitutional democracy in 1992, and everybody was excited because we expected that there will be what they call the democracy dividend, and that life will get better, we'll pull our people out of poverty, people will prosper and all that. But we realized that it got to a time where a lot of our young people, no opportunities, lack of accountability in public office and all that. And it had gotten to a stage where when they did opinion surveys, more people felt that they were better off under military dictatorships than under democracy. And so for me, I said that, look, this is our last opportunity to prove that democracy can work. And so that's the message we took into the election. And Ghanaians favored us with a very huge, majority in parliament, 2/3. It's never happened before. And apart from that, almost 57% of the vote. So it means that a lot of hope is on us to be able to turn the narrative of Ghana. And so it means that responsibility on our shoulders is even heavier. And that's why I always tell my colleagues that we're going to be held to a higher standard than any other government in the history of Ghana. And so we should do our best to make sure that we vindicate the trust that Ghanaians have had in us. But so far, so good. 7 months, no major scandal yet. So from a scandal a week to no major scandal yet, where some of the scandals have to be manufactured, that I flew in a private jet to Germany, and then from Germany the jet was coming to Japan and Singapore, and I was on Emirates. And the flights to the east are normally at dawn, and so we got in at 6 a.m. and we had to wait till 2:45. I was not stranded, but she took me to a hotel. I had a good sleep, and at 2:45 we joined the flight and we arrived here safely and comfortably. And so I wasn't stranded. If they say I was stranded, it's not true. Yeah, but I want to thank you all very much. And unfortunately, your remittances are not going to get you the kind of returns you used to get when the CD was 16. Now, if you send, $1,000, you get much less. But it is good on the side that it is encouraging investments back home.
Yes.
And people, cost of living has gone down, and we're doing everything to make sure that we stabilize it. We don't want a fixed forex regime, but we want a forex that is not changing every day and making it unpredictable. Businesses must be able to plan. And so if the CD will be between 10 and 11 and 12, that's a good thing. But today is 11, tomorrow is 12, the next day is 13, next day is 15, next day is 16, next day is 17. If I continue going at that rate, it probably would have reached 20 by now.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that we're on a good track, and we will continue to do our best. Yeah. So thank you very much.